Is Nickel Boys gonna sneak into Best Picture?
I think it'll get nominated. It'll be like number 10 though.
Okay.
And I think Conclave is gonna win screenplay.
I want challengers.
I want challengers too.
Come on. Give me it.
A Real Pain, written by Jesse Eisenberg.
That's a script movie you have to give into. September 5.
Too Late from Elton John. Never Too Late. Woo.
I don't know any of those songs.
Yeah, that felt
His music
different.
is so forgettable.
Yeah.
That
felt different.
That like whole thing is a wash.
Demi Moore in The Substance.
Let's go, Demi.
And Fernanda Torres in I'm Still Here.
That's strong. That's strong.
Jacques Audiard, Emilia Perez.
I really disagree with that.
Coralie for Jacques, The Substance.
I'm glad Coralie Fargeau made it in. Holy shit, we need a woman director every year at least.
I'm Still Here. Nominees to be determined.
Whoa!
Wow.
Okay, I'm gonna have to watch that then.
I guess so.
Nominees to be determined.
Nickel Boys. Okay.
Is Sing Sing?
Oh, maybe not.
Nominees.
Thank you. The
Sing Sing's
Substance.
A Real Pain?
And Wicked, Mark Platt, producer.
Wow. Wow. That is crazy.
No Sing Sing, no A Real Pain. All right, let's just start overall. People who are tuning in probably just saw some of our quick reactions. What's the overall state of this Oscars right now? How would you sum it up? Because it feels weird as someone who's not as deep in it as you are.
It feels pretty safe. I think there's a lot of Wicked and a lot of Emilia Perez, and for the technical awards, Dune Part Two, I think Dune deserves a lot of those nominations. It missing a lot of Sing Sing, A Real Pain, and Challengers. I think Wicked being nominated for Best Picture, that's for TV. That's to get people watching till the end. I'm dead serious. Go to songs, because in terms of the broadcast, they play all the songs. They have people perform them. Is there one from Wicked?
They said they're not going to have song performances this year.
Why?
I saw that on Twitter. I don't know. They cut it. They said they're not going to have the performances.
After I'm Just Ken last year
was so viral. I don't know what they're thinking.
I mean,
it
eats a lot of clock. It makes the show so long.
Well, I guess it's original song, so that doesn't. How does that work for musicals? It's not.
Oh, that's fair. That's fair.
So, what would they just fit into score?
I mean,
no.
They've done it before, like Encanto. They just played that song from Encanto, or like it was one year with I don't know, the year that No Time to Die came out, because Billie Eilish was there. They just had Eminem show up to do a concert. It's because the Grammys for award shows have the most ratings because it's just a concert that you watch.
Yeah.
So the Oscars were kind of trying to do that to help their ratings, but it eats up so much of the clock, and you're not really there for the show. You just want to guess the awards correctly. So I kind of prefer the snappy, let's just do these awards and get out of here. But in terms of like making good TV out of it, the songs are really like live or die by that. Like I'm Just Ken, and even the song they had for Scorsese's Killers of the Flower Moon, that was awesome. They had the full tribe there banging on the drums, and they had like a sunset behind them. I thought last year, in terms of the production of it, really, really strong. So it's going to be hard to follow up with this year, especially with them being very safe with a lot of these nominations.
Yeah. Who's hosting this year?
I think it's Conan O'Brien.
Oh, I like that. I like Conan.
Yeah.
And then was last year Kimmel?
I think
I'm making that up.
Yeah.
See, I thought I have thoughts on the Globes, but Nikki Glazer's fantastic.
She was great. She was great. Yeah. That's like a really hard gig.
Yeah.
Because last year the Globes were a joke because that comedian bombed so hard. So the fact that they turned around and she's the highlight of the show. I don't know how they did that. I really don't know how they did that because the bar was so low and she like leaped over it and she made it look easy. I don't know how they did that.
She's a force. I love Nikki Glaser. The one thing that stood out to me, I forgot we missed the score, so challengers did not get into score here. They weren't going to leave Emilia Perez out. I think they could have, but I don't know where challengers would even fit in here because I feel like this is rather strong outside of that. I haven't seen the Wild Robot yet.
Wild Robot is good in terms of the music. I think actually the music is kind of the music. I'm glad you came back to this. The score is the worst part of Conclave, and I would say the Wild Robot. The director of Conclave, he did All Quiet on the Western Front. He loves to have the most overbearing, bombastic score, and it takes me out of the movie every time. And his camera work and his editing and his writing is so strong. He doesn't need the loud music, but he forces it in. So I would much rather have challengers on this list than 3 of these movies. Brutalist makes sense. Wicked, sure. But challengers, 100%, I would have much rather had on here. I think that's the biggest snub besides the Best Picture ones. Yeah.
That's interesting because if I had to put like my 2 favorites, I'll say my 3 favorite scores of the year, it would be Challengers 1, probably Wicked, just because I'm a nerd. And I liked Conclave's score. I really did. It stuck with me. And maybe it's just because I hadn't seen All Quiet on the Western Front. I'm not like used to that. I'm not expecting that. But I just really enjoyed it. I remember in theaters, I enjoyed it a lot, but I haven't rewatched it.
It's bold, especially the All Quiet on the Western Front one. It's bold. It's doing a lot of big choices. I just don't think either of those films need it. It's trying to steal the spotlight kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah, I just really liked Conclave altogether. So
Conclave is fantastic. Yes.
Before we get into some more individual awards here, one take I want to run by you that I think it's a very hot take, very, very bold take, but I think if they're going to do it, this is the year to do it. I think this is going to end up being like what's considered the next gen Oscars. I think this is the year. It's a weird year. There's no clear front runners. Like you said, last year was very strong. This could be a time to kind of switch the narrative that the Oscars always just goes for a lot of legacy plays, a lot of, hey, you've been in this industry for a while. We're going to reward you for that. I think this could be the year where they go full tilt the other way and reward a lot of young actors. I think we could get a sweep of young actors. I think Timmy could sneak in there for Best Actor.
Timothy, absolutely. Yeah.
I think Hot One. I think Ariana could sneak in there for Best Supporting. I really do. I think they love Wick.
Bold.
I think that would be a moment if Ariana wins that award.
Yeah.
And then I think Mikey Madison could win for Nora. With what Demi Moore is she's on a wild trajectory. She's just been skyrocketing every single award show. But yeah, I think this could be a time for the Oscars to say, hey, screw it. We have to start rewarding young actors or people are going to just start ignoring us. And I think they're going to take a big swing here. And that's my bold prediction with the Oscars. Probably not going to happen, but
I would say that is honestly a good plan if they did it to kind of last year. I think they had really good ratings because of Barbenheimer and all that stuff. If they want to keep the retention, if they want to keep that young crowd that tuned in, reward and establish the young blood as the future of the industry. We need more like stars that are our age, and Timothy's really the only one that's almost there. I truly believe he is going to be our like Brad Pitt, George Clooney, like DiCaprio. Celebrity DiCaprio, all power stars. That if you went to somewhere in like Africa or like a remote island, if you just went to a random country that like does not have a movie theater, and you're like, I say Hollywood. What do you say? They would say Timothy Chalamet. Like that's the closest we have to an all-star celebrity guy. So I think give him the award, establish him as like, yes, this is the future. I can 100% see that. Mikey Madison, that list is stacked. I don't think she's going to win it. I am rooting for Demi Moore. I am 100% on board. It's really hard if you act in a horror movie like Toni Collette in Hereditary or Willem Dafoe in The Lighthouse. You give such animated performances with the biggest range out of anyone that year, and then you don't show up on the list because the Academy doesn't respect horror movies. It's a very specific flavor that the Academy really only tastes, and it's like the kind of art house drama period piece stuff. So the fact that The Substance, a very loud modern critique of Hollywood with an actress that the industry never really took seriously, is actually gaining traction in the award shows is amazing. It's one of the best movies of the year, and I'm glad the ceremonies are actually respecting that.
Yeah. So The Substance for me, gnarly movie. I enjoyed it.
Oh yeah.
I wouldn't say like I loved it. It's like not a movie for me, but I was like, I can appreciate this. This is great. And Demi Moore's awesome in it. And I think, like you said, it's awesome that she's getting recognized for a movie like that, where a movie like that would normally get shut out.
Yeah.
I'm also very biased because I have a future on Mikey Madison to win. And I've been a little pissed off that Demi Moore's like passing her in all the odds now.
Yeah.
I just do you actually think Demi Moore had a better performance than Mikey Madison? Or is it more, hey, movies like this need to be rewarded, performances like this need to be rewarded?
I think I feel like Demi Moore's performance is very personal to her own career. It's very self reflective, and it is physical. It's not as physical as Mikey Madison, and I don't really want to be. I'm not a huge fan of like talking about those both performances because those are the ladies that had to just be naked in front of a camera and in front of 30 men on set for probably weeks of principal photography. At least Demi Moore had a female director to like, we're going to put the camera here because of this. But I do think they are the best performances of the year, and they risk a lot of themselves for the role. I don't want to be like, oh, they won it because they took their clothes off. But I do think Demi Moore, she was in a lot of prosthetics and a lot of stunt work, and it's a very personal performance, and there's a wide range that she goes through in that movie. And again, because it's horror, she's allowed to be very animated. Mikey Madison is animated and a huge surprise because I haven't really seen her movies except for her like brief moment in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Yeah. I would be so happy with both of them winning, especially over really everyone else. I think Fernando Torres, is that I'm Still Here? Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm Still Here. I think that's the Brazilian one, has a huge vocal following. I think we might be underestimating it. I don't know if it's going to win anything, but people are rooting for it.
Yeah, I haven't seen it, so I can't really speak on that. The other, I think Cynthia Erivo's, I think her year is next year. I think Wicked Part 2, she's even more of the focal point. I don't know the full musical. I haven't seen the production, but from what I've heard, she's like the main focus even more than the first one. I think that's going to be, if she's going to make a push for this thing, it might be next year. So her getting nominated now, and if she gives a better performance next year, who knows what's going to happen. That's what I worry about Ariana. I think if Ariana's going to win it, it's the opposite. It has to be this year.
I agree.
Think she's fantastic.
But you have to look at Dune Part 2. Dune Part 2 is getting shut out in a lot of awards because I think it's a sequel. It didn't get director. It didn't get score, which is dumb.
Do you think that's impacting acting awards though? Like who? Because that cast is so big that
Austin
it almost.
Butler.
Do you think he
Austin
should have got it?
Butler?
I wouldn't hate him getting in
Yeah.
for supporting actor, but he was like nowhere in the conversation. I just wonder if
Because
that's just a cast that's so
yeah,
dense that it almost spreads out the love equally, where it's like hard to get one standout performance.
that might be true, but I think Austin Butler had a chance because he was only in that one. He wasn't in the one before, and it was so different, especially from his own career. He wasn't Elvis. He was a weird little freak that liked cutting people. Like it was very different. He was doing something that no one else this year was doing. But not only is that movie a sequel, it also came out in like March. There is a huge recency bias to the award shows because when that movie came out, everyone's like Austin Butler easily going to be in supporting actor, and here we are 8 months later, or I guess like right now, actually, like 10 months later,
Yeah.
and no one even mentions it. There's a huge recency bias.
I remember coming out of Dune 2 and thinking, I don't know what beats that, like all year.
Right.
And then it just slowly faded to the background, and it got a nomination for Best
Yeah.
Picture, but I mean, no one's picking it to win. It might
No,
get shut out. I mean, it'll win some tech awards, but
I
everything
think
else.
technical awards it'll kind of sweep because last year it was Poor Things won all the technical awards. Oppenheimer won the artsy awards. Every year that's kind of what it is. Like when Mad Max Fury Road came out, it had like it almost tied, I think, for the most nominations ever, which I think is like 14. Mad Max was nominated for everything, and it won like 7 or some crazy number, but they were all like sound, editing, cinematography. It was all the technical stuff. And then the artsy movie that won that year, I don't remember which, took all the actors and everything. So,
yeah. So we briefly mentioned this actor in a supporting role. Anything stand out from this list? I don't know if anyone was snubbed. This feels like what it was kind of predicted.
I would say this is probably the strongest category. Like, I don't disagree with any of these.
Yeah.
Maybe Yuri Borisov, because he's not in it a lot. But the way he's Igor, right? Igor?
Yeah.
In
I was
Anora?
surprised that he's been the supporting role in that movie to be nominated a lot, because I thought it was going to be the other guy. I forget his name at this time, but the main the love interest.
Oh,
the
boy, the guy,
the little boy. Yeah, I thought he was great.
I think Yura is in the movie as much, if not more, than him, because he disappears for that middle part.
Yeah,
and I do think this is like one of my weird not critiques, but like qualms with that movie is as soon as Igor shows up, the camera is focused on him now. It's a weird perspective shift. The camera no longer is like with Annie, it's with him. And it's really weird how they do that. I think I know why, but it's like confusing. It's kind of discombobulating.
Yeah, it is and I think it's part of the reason I like the movie. It becomes a different movie, like a third of the way through. It's like, oh wait, this is it's like Whiplash. I was like, wait a second. It took me like the first time I watched it, it took me like 10, 15 minutes to like catch up to what movie I was in at that point. Because it's so different from the first third. Let's move let's do some other acting, the rest of the acting awards. We haven't talked about, I mentioned briefly actor in a leading role, best actor. I haven't seen The Brutalist. Adrian Brody could blow me away. I'm hoping Timothy gets it. I don't even think that's his best performance of the year. He's so good as Bob Dylan, but he's also incredible in Dune 2. I think it'd be awesome if he wins this, just for like his year of work, because both those movies he's fantastic in.
I would say, again, I'm watching it tomorrow. The chatter online, I think Adrian Brody has this in the bag.
Wow.
Yeah, and it's crazy because again, talking about like careers, Adrian Brody is the youngest actor to win an Oscar. If Timothy wins, he's the youngest.
Mm-hmm.
And ever since Adrian won for The Pianist, he's been like supporting. He's like the best supporting actor you can get. And he's in all the Wes Anderson movies, and he's great in every single one. But this is him coming back as a like I'm the actor of the movie. So it's like he's like reclaiming his title or something.
Yeah, it's like a
If he
WWE match.
yeah, if he wins because of that, it's like that's awesome. I am kind of rooting for him. But in terms of like the future of the industry, I think Timothy better win eventually. And I think
Yeah.
he killed it back to back this year.
Yeah.
I think he should win, but I would put money on Adrian Brody.
I I I think I agree with you. I don't think I'm gonna pick a side or put money either way. I
Yeah.
hope they give it to Timothy. I think that's the best thing, and I hate to look at it this way. I think that's the best thing that this Oscars could do is give it to
Mhm.
Timothy Chalamet. This
Yeah.
has been the year of Timothy Chalamet. Like he has
Oh yeah.
owned media, the discourse, everything's about Timothy Chalamet. Like everyone knows who he is. This would be a time to make the Oscars even like more mainstream. And again, that's not the goal, but it's
Mhm.
part of it. Like make this watchable, make this because I mean, I still have the sore taste in my mouth from Jamie Lee Curtis 2 years ago, like over
Yeah.
Stephanie Shu. That still
Yeah.
bothers me. That
Yeah.
still bothers me. And it's stuff
Yeah.
like that where it's like reward these young actors. I hope Timothy gets it. And I also have a bold Timothy take that we'll get to because I want to preview
Okay.
at the end for the next year. But let's see what other have we
I do want to
talked about.
say real quick. Ray
Yeah.
Fiennes, great performance, great speech. I think he probably would have won if it was like a different year. I
Yeah.
there's always like one actor where it's like every year it's like, man, if you did it last year, if you did it next year, you would have won. Which means it really means you never stood a chance, but it's a great performance. I just want to put that in. Yeah.
I think there's a lot of years that Conclave could have won. I don't think it will this year, but I think Conclave's fantastic.
I think it's number 3. I think in terms of like the chance, it's I fully believe. I don't know if you want to get into this now or later,
Yeah.
but I think it's Brutalist, Emilia Perez, Conclave. I really think that's the likelihood of those winning. I don't think Honora's
You're
going to
taking
win.
Honora out. You're
I'm
taking
taking
Honora
Honora
out,
out.
really?
Yeah, yeah. Every award show is favoring Emilia Perez over Honora. You have to calculate how out of touch the industry is in itself. Because Emilia Perez is a bad movie. It's tone deaf, it's boring, it's confusing. None of the songs are good. It's a terrible movie. And the fact that every award show, not just the Golden Globes, like when the Golden Globes gave it so many nominations, people were like, that's the Globes, it's fine. Every award show has done it. I really think it has 10 times the chance than Honora. And if I'm wrong, thank God. Like, please, I want to be wrong. But I think the problem with The Brutalist is it's too long. Academy members might not finish it. But the fact that Felicity Jones got nominated gives me hope that people did finish it because she's not in the beginning of the movie, which means they had to see her in the second half to say, yeah, this is worth it. So I have hope that it will win. And I haven't even seen it. I'm seeing it tomorrow.
So what is it with Emilia Perez? I know we talked about it. Like everyone, I've seen the movie. I hated the movie. It was like I just did not enjoy it. I wasn't bought in by any moment of it. And then everyone online is basically saying the same thing. It's like I don't get why this is rewarded. Does that play a role at all in the Oscar voters' mind? Where it's like, hey,
No.
everyone, or is that more like, hey, I'm pretentious, I know better than you, I'm more likely to vote for it now, just to say, screw you, I know better than you?
I would say you have to look at like the best way to say it is all the Academy members are for before recent history, a vast majority of the Academy was actors, because to get into the Academy you have to win an award, and there are 4 actor awards every year. So a huge chunk of the Academy is going to be actors. So when you watch a Best Picture winner, you're like, this is just an acting movie. And it's like, that's why it won. But recently, they have they've kind of counteracted that by making the Academy very much an international thing. So now there's a lot more international people that are in the Academy. Like if what's the Brazilian one? I'm Still Here.
I'm Still Here. Yeah.
If I'm Still Here came out 7 years ago, not a chance. It would not have made it in. So there's a much stronger international community within the Academy. And I think that is what is giving Emilia Perez a huge foot in the race. But also, you have to look at the Academy members as either East Coast elites or like LA Hollywood snobs. Like, it's not that the movie is good, it's that Emilia Perez is talking a lot about current themes, even though it's doing a terrible job at both like trans identity and cartel politics and like Mexico society. It's doing a terrible job at both because it's a French filmmaker that's never been to Mexico and he's a dude. Like there's a movie that won in 2004, the 2004 awards, Crash.
Mm-hmm.
We're doing Crash all over again. Crash was a terrible post 9/11, isn't everybody racist movie. It was basically saying like racism exists. It's admitting that cops are corrupt. Living in the city sucks in LA because everyone's racist. Like all that stuff. But it's like it's saying it in the worst way. It's like, yeah, people are racist because everybody's racist. And it's like that's the worst argument I've ever heard in terms of like post 9/11 stuff. Like there's like a Muslim shopkeeper in that movie that he gets robbed and it's like, oh, actually it's your fault because you shouted at the Hispanic doorman so he didn't fix your door because you were racist to him. It's like this movie is so tone deaf. It's awful. And it won Best Picture because it was talking about a lot of current political strife very loudly. And that's what Emilia Perez is doing this year. And it sucks because there's a lot more films. Like this is just me saying, The Beast, which didn't get nominated at all, is another French movie. Emilia Perez is not Spanish. It is French, and it's so stupid. There's another French movie called The Beast that talks a lot about current day stuff like incel culture and AI and like all that kind of thing, and like whether women feel safe throughout history. It has a lot more timely problems and tells them in a very interesting way. And Emilia Perez does not tell its problems authentically at all. Like Hispanic audiences hate this movie more than you and I because the movie is pretending to be about them and they are insulted because it's like the actors don't even speak Spanish that well, apparently. It's really weird. So it's getting nominated because it's politically loud and vocal and it's pretending to be important. But it's a French dude that wants to win an award. That's all it is.
Yeah.
That's my soapbox.
No, I love that. You could put that so much better than I could because for me, I watched that. I'm like, I don't like this movie. Like that's basically it. And then I'm like, why is this getting nominated? Which I think a lot of people, because there's a lot of people I know who just, hey, they don't see that many movies throughout the year, and then Best Picture nominees come out, and then like I should probably see this because it's a Best Picture nominee, and then they'll watch Emilia Perez and be like, what the fuck?
Like, it's like why am I doing this? Yeah.
Yeah, the
Um,
Oscars stink when they're missing
yeah,
out on probably, like, watching Conclave, which I think is fantastic.
exactly. Yeah,
Seeing, movies like Anora and The Brutalist, like, people weren't, like, anticipating Anora. I didn't know Anora was a thing until it started getting Best Picture buzz, and I was like, "I gotta go
yeah,
see this movie," and that's
yeah.
a reason I saw it, and I enjoyed it. Like, I'm gonna
Mhm.
see The Brutalist because of awards like this. So these awards do matter for like these nominees do matter for 80% of the public who aren't following these movies no matter what, if that makes
And
sense. So like it's
and
important.
these awards are why these movies get made. Like The
Yeah.
Brutalist got picked up by A24 because Sing Sing fell apart. I don't know what A24 was doing with the Sing Sing promotional stuff, but it tanked. People forgot about the movie because A24 didn't put it in enough theaters, so it
Yeah, no
lost
one saw the
steam.
movie.
It lost steam so early. A24 scrambled and picked up The Brutalist, and now here you go, nominated for Best Picture. It's
Have you
all
seen
about
Sing Sing?
yes, yeah.
Okay, I was gonna say I don't know anyone who has. I
I
can't.
was very fortunate to watch it at a film festival in Indianapolis, the Heartland Film Festival. I go every year,
Yeah.
and they had it. They had that, and they had Emilia Perez. They have a lot of like smaller films, but then they get three. They get three like mainstream art house movies. That's an oxymoron, but they had A Real Pain for the opening night. They had Sing
I
Sing in
almost
the
went
middle
to
of the
that.
week. Yes. And then they had Emilia Perez at the very end. So I saw those movies at Heartland, had a great time. A Real Pain was awesome, and Sing Sing.
Mhm.
But yeah,
Yeah.
it's
I'm mad A Real Pain didn't sneak in the Best Picture. Next year, so I've looked at that
mhm.
Heartland film festival a ton, but I've never pulled the trigger and like gone to any. Next year, I may force you to like show me the reins of how that stuff works. I'm very interested in
Yeah.
it.
I will say the actually Sing Sing was like an off screening. It was like a one time thing. I got so lucky to get in because my dad is on the board and I volunteer for
Oh,
screening. So I get
hell
like
yeah.
the inside scoop on which movies are going to be in. So I buy tickets early.
Nice.
Um, but the middle of the week screening was small things like these. I think is what it is. The Cillian Murphy Irish movie, which is a great movie.
Yeah.
It's very unfortunate that it didn't get nominated because I think it won the big prize at like the Berlin Film Festival.
Hmm.
Um, all these movies were like huge festival darlings, especially Emilia Perez. Oh my gosh! But Honora won the Palme d'Or at Cannes, I think. So
Hmm.
you gotta watch the film festivals. Like Sundance is about to happen. That one
Yeah.
is not as strong in recent memory, I don't think. I think A Real Pain came from Sundance though. So,
Aren't they
yeah.
moving Sundance too? And isn't potentially it could move to like Cincinnati? I feel like I saw that. Or one of the big film festivals
I
is
don't think
moving locations.
I don't think Sundance because like honestly Sundance is like one of the only reasons wherever it is in Utah, like there's a whole street of movie theaters because of Sundance. That they've like built this community around in that town for that week. And it sounds very friendly to filmmakers and like it's easy to go to screenings and stuff. I don't think they're going to move it
Oh,
anytime soon.
it looks like
Really?
they're moving it.
Wow. All right.
Sundance
Never
in
mind.
Cincinnati. Oh, this feels good. I know something. Hollywood Warriors Film Festival. So it's moving out of Park City. They
Mhm.
haven't announced where yet, but Cincinnati is one of the potential destinations. That'd be so fun. It'd be awesome for us
That
because
would
it's
be
so
great for
close.
us. Yeah, it would
It'd be
be.
huge.
I think there is. I think there is a film festival in Cincinnati, like Heartland is in
Hmm.
Indianapolis. But having Sundance in Cincinnati would be huge because
Be
there
sick.
is a lot of filming that happens there.
Yeah.
Um, that would be interesting. And you're right. I actually would go
Yeah.
if it was in Cincinnati. That would be fun.
Yeah. All right. Last any other awards, I want to go through Best Picture and basically
Mhm.
we can try to agree on ranking 10 to 1, 1 being most likely to win. Any other awards you want to talk about before we do that? Are you good?
Uh, I don't know. The nominations were pretty safe.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing crazy, except like challengers not getting score or something. I'm sure I'm not like the best at this. I'm sure all the New York Times and all that stuff will list all the snubs. But
Yeah.
yeah, I don't have any vocal things, so we can do
Gotcha.
this. Yeah.
All right, let's go through best picture. We'll try to work 10-1, least likely to win. I would guess between I'm Still Here and Nickel Boys. Least
I would
likely to
say
win.
Nickel Boys. I would say Nickel
Okay.
Boys least likely. Yeah.
We'll do Nickel Boys then I'm Still Here. If we're working down.
Yeah, I'm Still Here as a vocal following. I don't know if that has any sway, but
Yeah.
that's why I'm putting it over Nickel Boys. Yeah.
And then next I almost would want to say because I don't think has any chance of winning is Dune Part 2. Because I think
Maybe.
The Substance has a weird, like, somewhat
Those
of
are
a
the next
path.
two. You're right. Those are the next two. You're right. I would say Doom Part 2 and then The Substance. Yeah.
And then The Substance, and then probably A Complete Unknown, then Wicked. Any argument there?
Yeah. No, I agree. That sounds right.
And then after Wicked, so we have 4 left: Emilia Perez, Brutalist, Honora, Conclave, which I think most people would say the consensus top 4 are.
Yeah. I would say Honora's bottom
Honora 4.
4. I would say. Yeah.
I hope you're wrong, but I don't disagree with that take.
Mm-hmm.
And then Conclave.
Yep.
Is Emilia Perez 1? It can't be, right?
I think it's 2. It's number 2.
And then Brutalist 1. So
I
we'll
would say
go
Brutalist is 1.
Conclave, Emilia Perez, and then the Brutalist. So in order, least likely to win to most likely to win: Nickel Boys, I'm Still Here, Dune Part 2, The Substance, A Complete Unknown, Wicked, Honora, Conclave, Emilia Perez, and the Brutalist. That feels like a good list.
That feels right. Yeah. Yep.
Perfect. All right, last thing I want to do, just because I want this on the record, so if I'm somehow close to right, or you're close to right, we can go back and gloat to people. But I have a list of 5 top best picture contenders for next year, not for this upcoming Oscars. So for next to 2026, March 2026. Do you have any prepared, or do you want me to rattle through my 5?
I have prepared. It's on my camera phone, but I could try to think of them. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. No worries. I can run through what I have. I have 6 written down. Some of these it was just fun to research because I hadn't heard about them. Some I know are coming.
Yeah.
My big prediction I alluded to earlier is this could be a big swing and a miss. Could go 0 for 2 here, but I think Timmy could go back to back. I think if Timmy wins this year for A Complete Unknown Best Actor, I think he's going to win it again next year for Marty Supreme. I'm very excited for this movie.
Is that the
He's
Benny
like the
Safdie
ping
movie?
pong guy, Benny Safdie movie.
Yeah.
He's like a ping pong guy, but it feels like we don't know enough about this movie. I feel like Timmy could give a fantastic performance again, and he goes back to back, and it's just all of a sudden Timmy's here, and he that's got to make history, right? No one's done that.
He's been doing a lot of groundwork this year, like being on like Sports Center and stuff, and doing the Timothy lookalike contest. He's put in all the groundwork this year. I think it's like he's put all the groundwork now so that next year he could do a weird thing. So I think in his mind, next year is a write-off. He could do whatever he wants. And then the year after that is when he like goes to the next step. So next year's going to be like a fun Timothée Chalamet movie and a weird one. I don't think he's not shooting for the awards though.
Yeah. I can see that. So yeah, I had Marty Supreme as one of my best picture nominees. The other one I have is Mickey 17, which comes out soon. I feel like that's going to be that's the new Bong Joon-ho movie with Robert Pattinson. Yeah. I think that's going to be very similar to what Dune 2 is this year. where it's not gonna be obviously as big or probably as good, but I think it's gonna
Yeah.
be like early on, people are like, this movie rocks. This could be a front runner, and then it's just gonna fade. But I think it could
Yeah.
sneak in as a nominee
It's
for late next year.
it's coming out really early. You're right. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
The other ones I wrote down, these are ones I don't know much about at all. So
Okay.
just researching these, they seemed fun. There's a movie called Jay Kelly. It's Noah Baumbach's new movie starring
Okay.
George Clooney and Adam Sandler. And the only thing we really know about it is it's described as like a Jerry Maguire type movie, which could
Okay.
be very fun. I think
Yeah.
Clooney and Sandler, it's either going to be awful or both of them are just going to turn up and just give fantastic performances. So I think that could be a sneaky. You could have you could have acting winners there,
Yeah.
but it could sneak in the best picture. The other one is Hamnet. So it's Chloe
Yeah.
Zhao, and
Yeah.
it's basically about William Shakespeare's wife, like losing her son, something like that. I don't know too much about the story. Paul Mescal's in it.
Paul Mescal's in it. Yep.
So that one I think is just going to be in the conversation. And then After the Hunt, Luca Guadagnino's movie with Andrew Garfield, I want to say Julia Roberts and Io Adibri.
Okay.
Seems interesting. And then I wrote down Blue Moon, but I don't remember what it's about. So it's on the list. So those are my best picture 2026 potential winners. Mickey 17, Marty Supreme, Hamnet, Jay Kelly, After the Hunt, and Blue Moon. That's what I got.
Okay. I think those are strong in terms of maybe acting. Mickey 17, that studio, I don't know which studio is in control of that movie. They don't know what to do with that movie. They don't know what to do. They've changed the release schedule, I think, like 7 times. It was supposed to come out last week, and that was like the 4th rescheduling of it. So the fact that they're like, actually, we'll put it in March gives me hope, but it's still March. Like that's when you release like A Quiet Place. Like it's not like an awards movie. It's a fun action movie. So it'll be a great movie. I think it'll be great. I don't think it's going to make it to the awards though. The others maybe. My list is on my phone.
Anything you want to add to the list?
I will.
Any off the top of your head?
Yeah. So, oh shoot. I'm trying to remember them. So this is not going to be in order. I would say the 2 movies I'm most looking forward to this year, no chance to be Best Picture, but it's 28 Years Later and Ryan Coogler's Sinners. Both are horror movies, so I don't think they stand a chance. But in terms of like the best movies of the year, I think Ryan Coogler's Sinners is gonna hit. It's gonna be really good. In terms of like what I would say has a chance of being nominated is Guillermo del Toro is coming out with a Frankenstein movie. I just listed 3 horror movies in a row, but the Academy loves Guillermo del Toro. Like The Shape of Water won, I think in 2016 or 2017. That movie is weird. I love it. It's so out there, but because it's Del Toro, the Academy is like, yeah, we'll give it to you, and it will give you director, which is really rare. I know Nolan just did it, but I think that's pretty rare. So I think Frankenstein, because it'll be very romantic and heartfelt in a dark way, has a chance to be Best Picture. Spike Lee is coming out with a movie. It's an adaptation of Akira Kurosawa's High and Low. And his version is called Highest to Lowest. And I think it has one of the Washingtons. I don't know if it's Denzel or his son, but it's going to be class conscious struggle, and it's Spike Lee, so he's also like a race issue thing. Maybe they'll give him the award in payment for the last snubs that he's had every time. Do the Right Thing and Black Klansman both getting hardcore letdown snubbed. They might finally give him Best Picture. Uh, so I think strong contender for that one. There's a new Paul Thomas Anderson movie coming out. It
Is
kind
that
of
coming out
looks,
this year?
I think so. I think so.
Okay.
I forgot what the title is, but it sounds like the battle at not Bangkok, but like something.
Oh,
It
yeah,
sounds
Battle. I saw that on my
yeah.
list.
It sounds like a war movie, but it's Paul
Battle
Thomas
of
Anderson.
Bactan or something? Bactan?
Yeah,
Baktan?
yeah. In my head, it's like that doesn't. It sounds like a war movie, but I don't think he's done a war movie. So it might be like a music band protest in the streets kind of thing. I don't know.
Gotcha.
There's also. I'm gonna have to look this up. Hang on.
No, you're fine. This is fun for me. This is strictly so we can revisit this in a year and see if we were close at all. So this is just a fun exercise. I was like, let's just see.
Yeah, there's the director of this movie that's really good, Kelly Reichardt. Kelly Reichardt, come on. Her upcoming movie, I think it's called The Mastermind. Yes, The Mastermind. I think. Yeah, I don't know what it's about. I think actually no, I do. I think it's an art heist during the Vietnam War.
Oh, fun.
I think is that right? Yes.
Awesome.
I think that'll be good. 3. I'm missing one. F1 with Brad Pitt and the same director that did Top Gun Maverick and Tron Legacy. That I think he is secretly one of the best directors we have out there right now. He's not a loud artsy director. He's like we have a damn good script and we need it to look as good as you can get it. You hire him. Like he's just a really strong, solid person behind the camera. So I think F1 will also do well. I'm missing one more. Oh, there's a Wes Anderson movie coming out.
Okay.
It's like the Phoenician Scheme. There seems to be a lot of like art heists and espionage and war movies and then horror movies. So this year might be fun. I don't know.
Yeah. There's a one movie,
yeah.
I don't think it wasn't on my list, but it looked interesting. Very much. Someone commented that A24 is just remaking The Menu like 20 times, but it's I forget what it's called. Io's in it. She's like, they go to like this musician who's been like secluded for 30 years and they have this like weird cult type thing. So it's basically like The Menu, but it's really
the trailer just came out. Yeah,
I just watched that, so that's been on top of my mind. But yeah, no, I think that'll be fun to revisit this. Yes, Opus, that's the one.
You're right. There's a lot of like Menu clones that are coming out right now. But,
yeah.
All
right. Last thing, let's wrap up here. We will hopefully potentially do a live stream for the Oscars. We'll have to figure out schedules or stuff, but we'll do something for the Oscars, even if it's just a reaction show later. So if you guys want to see that, let us know. The last thing I want to do is just plea again to the Oscars. Make this a calendar year thing. Have the Oscars right after Christmas, before New Year's, every single year. That's why we have stinkers of movies coming out January to March. It bothers me so much because no one wants to release a good movie in that time frame because it's not going to get nominated. It's going to be forgotten. Dune 2 is a great example of that. Why not just make and it's easier? Like, is this the 2025 Oscars or is this the 2024 Oscars? It's so confusing because these are all 2024 movies, but it's the 25 Oscars. And that pisses me off so unbelievably much.
Dune 2 coming out before the Oscar show of the year before is embarrassing. Like it's bad. And the fact that they like this year the Oscars are in March. They used to be in February. It's like even though it's like a week later, it's a whole different month. Like you got to stop. But I mean, we are seeing with the fires that voting for nominations and then voting for winners is like actually logistically really hard. And the movies that get nominated do not stand a chance at making money until they're nominated. Like I'm seeing The Brutalist tomorrow. When I bought tickets for it in 70 millimeter IMAX, because they say that's how you have to watch it.
Yeah.
The theater was empty. But now that it's nominated, I know I'm going to show up to a full theater.
Yeah.
Like that's just that's how it is. There's no way to
Yep.
change it. It's so confusing for someone that's like that doesn't follow it, but for someone that like is trying to follow it, it's an unfortunate. It has to be this way.
Yeah, it's so frustrating. I always hate the argument. It's like, well, they need time to see all the movies. It's like, I see all the movies and I'm ready to go by December 25th. Let's go.
And
Put me as a
they,
voter.
they don't even watch all the movies. Like I will tell you, Inside Out 2 is probably going to win, and every other movie on that list is better than Inside Out 2, easily.
Yeah.
But because it's Disney, all the voters like, well, I took my kids to see this one, so I'll vote for that. I am so glad Moana 2 did not get nominated. I would have screamed. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. All right. Well, we'll wrap up there. We'll do more Oscars talk once we get closer to it. But JP, thanks for joining today. This was fun. I'm glad we were able to do this.
This was fun. Yeah.